If a huge UFO showed up right now and hovered over Westminster, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. NASA's live stream suddenly cut out, and then Brian Cox went on TV and said, "What we're seeing might change everything we thought we knew about space." He said it started as a normal sky check by a telescope over the Pacific, but it turned into this crazy space thing. NASA cut the feed minutes later and deleted the raw video. They've named the object Neo-MOA, and this is serious. Like Brian Cox said, this could change everything. Neo-MOA doesn't follow the rules of physics. At first, it looked a bit like that weird interstellar visitor from 2017, oddly shaped, super fast, and tumbling all over the place. But this one got way closer. And get this, it didn't just zoom through our solar system. It sped up, changed direction, and then just stopped. Cox even said, "We're seeing it move in ways that aren't normal. It's not a comet or a rock." What's really scary is that it slowed down as it came toward Earth, and there was no sign of how it was moving. NASA's Deep Space Network picked up tiny vibrations that sounded like it had internal controls. The live feed even caught heat changes around it, like it was cooling or shielding itself. And right before the screen went black, it sent a beam of prime number pulses right at Earth's upper atmosphere. If this kind of crazy science gets you excited, subscribe. We get into stuff like this every week. Now, if Neo-MOA sounds familiar, it's probably because the first object, Oumuamua, caused a huge debate among astronomers. A Harvard scientist even said it might be an alien probe. It was shaped like a cigar, reflected light oddly, and sped up without any reason. But it left before we could study it well. This new object? It didn't leave. It hung around. And just like the first one, it's not acting like anything we've ever seen or can explain. Could this be some kind of cosmic alarm? A few physicists, including Brian Cox, think that Neo-MOA might be a sensor, a space trip wire left in orbit, waiting and waiting. Maybe it's waiting for a signal, or some action, or something to wake it up. Cox thinks this might tie into the Fermi paradox, the weird question of why, if the universe is so huge, we haven't found anyone else. Maybe the silence is the answer. It's wild to think about. We can land rovers on Mars and spot black holes billions of light years away. But here on Earth, a lot of insurance companies still try to cheat people after accidents, like we're living in the Stone Age. If you get hurt badly, your case could actually be worth a lot of money, which is why you might want a great legal team to fight for you. That's why so many people check out Morgan & Morgan, the biggest injury law firm in the country. They don't accept low offers. They recently got millions for injury victims even though insurance companies tried to pay them much less initially. And here's the cool thing, if they don't win, you don't pay. No fees up front, and no hidden costs. It's totally free unless they win your case. They've even made the whole thing easy. You can start your claim and talk to your team right from your phone. If you've been hurt seriously, your case might be worth millions, and you're just a few clicks away from possibly changing your life. You can start your claim now with Morgan and at www.4people.com/specialize, which is also in the description, or by scanning the QR code on the screen. Okay, back to space stuff. Maybe advanced civilizations don't shout, maybe they just watch. One scary idea is that we weren't supposed to notice it, and now that we did, we've set off the next phase, contact, but not the friendly kind we were hoping for. After the live feed cut, observatories in Chile and South Africa saw something weird, a focused burst of electromagnetic energy in the X-band, with prime number intervals. Sound familiar? That's the language Carl Sagan thought aliens might use. But it gets weirder. The burst matched a part of the Voyager golden record, specifically, the sound of a heartbeat, one pulse, then 3, then 5, then silence. This wasn't just communication, it felt like a mirror. If you've made it this far, you're obviously into this deep stuff. Hit like and tell us what you think in the comments, simulation, higher dimensions, or something else. Let's take a breath, because if Brian Cox is right, this isn't happy-go-lucky first contact. It's more like a test. We've been noticed, and we're being watched, not because they're curious, but because they're judging us. Not are you smart? But are you worth keeping? If that's true, everything we know about our place in the universe changes instantly. The filter theory, are we being checked out? Here's the scary thought that some astronomers are quietly discussing. Oumuamua could be a piece of a bigger system, a cosmic filter that spots civilizations when they start going into space and figures out if they're a threat. That would explain why it moves in weird ways, why it sends prime number signals, and why it hasn't tried to talk to us but just watches from a distance. Brian Cox said it's like a quantum observer effect on a civilization level. We might be changing our own future just by existing. If this is part of the so-called Great Filter, it's not behind us, it's right in front of us. If these ideas about Oumuamua are true, this could be a huge moment in how we understand our place in the universe. Its weird behavior, its speeding up and slowing down, the electromagnetic pulses, and the chance that there's a bigger surveillance system out there all suggest that we're being watched, and not in a way we expected. Imagine if it's not just some random thing passing by, but a sentinel, part of a network of probes all over the solar system, just waiting for the right moment to react. The fact that it seems to have noticed us and is responding suggests that there's a bigger plan. Could these probes be part of a larger cosmic filter, where civilizations like us are being judged? If so, maybe we're being evaluated based on what we do, how advanced we are, or even if we're ready to join the space club. Brian Cox saying that we might be the ones being watched adds a scary new layer to the idea of first contact. The thought that we've been silently monitored for years, maybe even centuries, without knowing is creepy. And the silence from NASA is not helping either. The signal from Voyager 1 and the weird things that observatories and groups like CERN have picked up suggest that this isn't just another space rock. Instead, it might be part of a bigger network that's gathering information, with us as the test subjects. Cox's warning is something to think about. Maybe the universe wasn't meant for us to explore without limits, but to move through carefully. Now that we've set off this cosmic sensor, the question isn't if we'll make contact, but if we'll survive it. In the end, Oumuamua might not just change how we see space, but might make us rethink what intelligent life, survival, and our place in the universe really mean. We might not be in control of our own destiny, but just players in a larger system that's designed to watch, judge, and maybe either include us or kick us out. As scientists dig into these strange things, the race to get to the bottom of this continues. Everyone's wondering, what's really behind the forces we've awakened? What happens next could change everything, whether we're ready or not. The story of Oumuamua is pushing the science community to face a new reality that messes with everything we thought we knew. If we're dealing with something not from Earth, something that's watching us on purpose, then humanity might be at the start of contact, but not the kind we thought it would be. Think about the chance that this filter system, a cosmic watchdog that checks out new civilizations, has been around for ages without most of us knowing. And now, just as we're moving further into space, we've crossed a line, set off some cosmic switch, and drawn attention to ourselves in a way we don't get. This isn't just about being curious or sharing information, it's about something bigger, survival and being ready to join a larger cosmic group or being left out. The unsettling idea here is that spotting Oumuamua and the signals it sent might not be an invite, but a test. It's not about if we're smart enough, but if we're responsible or developed enough to be allowed into the wider world of alien civilizations. If we've tripped this thing, maybe we've been put under review without realizing it. Everything we do, every new invention could be watched closely by beings who are way beyond what we can even imagine. But the mystery doesn't end there. The fact that signals from Voyager 1 seem to match up with the discovery of these electromagnetic pulses, the weird numbers, and the strange stuff being picked up by systems all over the world brings up even more disturbing questions. Why would a really old spacecraft with outdated equipment suddenly send back data it was never told to send? Why would it reply to a signal from Earth like it was part of some bigger space relay system? It's like Voyager was waiting for something, a signal from Earth, something weird happening, or maybe just the presence of Oumuamua. This opens up the scary chance that we're not just reacting to things in space, but being watched by a system of intelligent things, both out in space and hidden here on Earth. The thought that we might be part of a silent watching operation that covers our whole solar system makes us wonder just how much of the universe is really unknown to us. And then there's how quiet the science community has been, the quiet from NASA, some key people disappearing, certain data being taken away, and publicly available logs just vanishing all suggest that something's being kept secret. The lack of information, the sudden shutdowns, and the change in tone from scientists like Brian Cox all point to a bigger story playing out behind closed doors. The scientists who are talking to the public might be under pressure either from the government or because of what they've found. This weird silence goes beyond just the government. Normal astronomers who tried to track Oumuamua and its direction reported issues with their equipment. The object's location became top secret, a move rarely seen with other things in the solar system, even ones that are linked to defense or security. This level of secrecy makes us think that Oumuamua and the signals are part of something much bigger, something that we're not supposed to fully understand yet. But maybe the scariest thing is that we might not even know what kind of danger we're in. Is Oumuamua just watching passively, or is it actively checking us for signs of aggression or being irresponsible? Or could it be a judgment system, just watching and figuring out if we're ready to be part of a bigger group? The thought that we're being watched not because they're curious, but to judge us is scary. And what if us even knowing about Oumuamua and the signals it sent was what started it all? The idea that something in space was waiting for us to notice and react is hard to swallow. It suggests a level of intelligence that's way beyond anything we've come up with, a security system waiting silently, recording everything we do until we set it off by noticing it. Now that Earth is seeing odd problems in its atmosphere and magnetic fields, we have to ask, what's being set off, and who or what is behind it? It's possible that the problems we're seeing aren't random, but are the result of a space response. These issues might be part of the bigger watching system, reacting to our own technology or the presence of Oumuamua in our solar system. All of this points to a bigger puzzle, one that we've started to solve without realizing it. We're not just watching the universe anymore, we've become part of something much bigger. And whether we're ready or not, what happens next will shape our future. The silence might not be over, but the universe might be waiting for us to make the next move. And when we do, the results could be bigger than we can imagine. What happens next? We don't know. But we've crossed a line, and the future of humanity might depend on how we respond. What comes next is a heavy and scary thought. It's not just about something new in space, it's about how our place in the universe is going to change in a big way. Oumuamua and the signals that came with it feel like the end of one chapter and the start of something totally new, something we can't fully get our heads around yet. What's really behind the technology that's been quietly watching us? Is Oumuamua just the first of many objects, each doing its job in a quiet, organized way? And if so, what happens if we keep looking into this, keep asking questions? What if, like Cox said, the act of trying to figure things out is exactly what it wants us to do? What if this isn't some big invite to talk, but a test of how ready we are, if we can figure things out, if we can act, or if we can survive? The idea that we might already be part of some bigger space group is both exciting and unsettling. We've always thought that if we found an advanced civilization, it would be this amazing moment of sharing and wonder. But now, as we find more clues, it seems more and more likely that we're not the ones making first contact at all. We've been watched for longer than we know, and now we've maybe been seen in a way we weren't prepared for. The clues point to something more calculated, more on purpose. What if we've already been judged? What if Oumuamua isn't just watching, but is an active judge, testing us for our spot among the stars? What if the presence of this object, its weird behavior, and the space problems are all signs that we're in a trial period? The result of failing such a test would be awful, but we don't actually know what that would be. And yet, despite all the signs that something bigger is playing out, the silence from the people in charge, the government, the science community, the groups that are supposed to guide us through these times, just makes things feel worse. Why are important logs being deleted? Why can't we get to key data anymore? Why are scientists who used to be so loud now being quiet? These aren't just strange coincidences, they're signs of a system in action, a system that has way more control over the story than we thought. The blackout during the live feed, the raw video disappearing, the government officials being tight-lipped, these aren't the actions of people who are just caught off guard. This is how you manage, contain, and control a situation that you're either not ready to talk about or just can't explain. The fact that the thing we were tracking has now become top secret suggests that we've moved into dangerous territory. This isn't just about space search or even looking for aliens, it's about a more complicated web of control, secrecy, and hidden knowledge. For all the fear and doubt that this find might bring, it also raises some big questions about our future. If we're really being watched, what does that mean for our technology, our wars, our societies? The question isn't just if we're ready to make contact, it's if we're ready for what comes after. What happens when the universe is keeping track of us, judging us in real time, and what will we do when we finally get that the stakes are way higher than we thought? It's easy to see space as something huge and empty, but the find of Neo-Moa and the weird things that follow challenge that idea. The universe might not be indifferent at all. Instead, it might be a place full of silent watchers, testing civilizations as they grow, judging if they're ready for something bigger. Knowing this, as scary as it might be, opens a new chapter for humanity, one where we have to face not just the mysteries of space, but our own place in it. The real question, as Cox warned, isn't if we'll make contact, it's if we can survive it. The silence might be broken, but the real meaning of the message, of who or what is behind it, is still a mystery. The silence is full of waiting, and every day we get closer to finding out if we'll be accepted into the bigger space community, or if our time will have passed before we even knew what we were up against. As we stand on the edge of this new chapter in human history, the future is uncertain. The question isn't just what happens next, but if we'll be ready to face it when the next signal comes. Because if Neo-Moa is just the start, then we're only just scratching the surface of what's waiting out there.